when it came to understanding the connection between hormones and not just health overall, like general well-being, but also my sexuality, I spent a lot of time reading, and in the end, the science saved me. And science came in the form of Dr. Chris Hewart, who helped me sort out what the literature was saying. I read a lot, we wrote a lot, we ended up creating this book, Ride the Pink Elephant, which talks about hormones and the role they play in everything from heart disease to osteoporosis to dementia to one's sexuality. And it convinced me that hormones were the way to go. And I truly was a I hate hormones person. I was Miss Natural. I was going to do it the way every woman, decades and generations earlier had done it, hopefully without whining and complaining. But so I get to the point where I'm ready to go on these hormones. I find a doctor, fortunately through Kronos, who's willing to work with me to determine the right dose, which is a trick in itself. And I decide for a bunch of reasons to go on bioidentical hormones. And I saw my lab work, and I literally had flatlined. I mean, I had no estrogen, I had no progesterone, and I had no testosterone. So Dr. Kaib, my physician at Kronos, had given me doses that would replicate, hopefully, where I had been in my 30s. They were more on the low dose to, in a sense, play it safe, but we would tweak from there. And suddenly, it didn't take long. It was really about a month before I felt myself coming back to life. The first thing I noticed was that the anxiety and this chronic kind of irritable moodiness dissipated. And then I was able to sleep. And then suddenly I started having these, what can only be described as fantasies. Like suddenly men became attractive again. It was like my little Christmas lights were coming back on, and all these hormones were bubbling through me, and I felt alive. And I know that sounds kind of like an exaggeration, but quite honestly, it wasn't. I mean, it was astonishing. It was, I got to the point where I was convinced that we all have this sexual energy about us, and we exude something, and that energy is derived from hormones. I'm completely convinced of this now. And suddenly men were looking back at me. It was like, even though I was closer to 50 now, I had no longer disappeared. I was coming back to myself.